Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV. I'm sitting here for Carlisle of 2-1 away from home at Altrincham in a game that is likely going to take years off a lot of Carlisle fans' lives because, Jesus, how have we managed to do that? Look, early on in the game, we take the lead through Kelly. You know, at one point, we look like we've got a second goal through Kelly, which is ruled off for offside, which again, I'm not entirely sure it was. But look, earlier in the game, when that second goal's gone in and you're up celebrating before you find out that it's being ruled out, you think, oh, good, another game against a mid-table team that's going to be quite easy for us. We're going to cruise through. It's going to be an easy win before we go into this hard run of fixtures against York, Forest Green, Rochdale, Scunthorpe, Southend. You know, we've got very, very tough 5 games after this game, and you think, at least before we go into those games, we've got an easy game where we're 2-0 up and we're cruising. George Kelly's goal gets ruled out for offside. You think, okay, but still, we've been the better team. I still think we'll go on and win this quite comfortably. And how wrong I was. You know, it was anything but an easy game today, and fair play to Altrincham for pushing us all the way. But look, I do think that without the referee's quite poor whistle-happy performance, we probably would have won quite comfortably. And yes, there was, you know, whether you think the penalty is a penalty or not, the amount of yellow cards he was giving out just completely freely to, you know, I think we ended the game with about 6 players all booked. And it's just like, you know, and I think he booked 3 of the opposition as well, and Mark Hughes was booked. It's just, you're ruining the game by doing that. You know, Harper gets sent off, and it's just, you know, I don't think the first one was a yellow card, and I certainly don't think the second one was. It's just, you're just trying to be performative as a referee. You're just trying to kind of make it about you, and that's not your job. You know, it was a really, really difficult game to play because of the conditions, because of the rain. There's gonna be, you know, tackles that maybe don't look the prettiest. You know, it's really difficult to play in those kind of conditions. You're having to really, really push yourself to run. It's difficult to run. It's difficult to tackle. You know, the flight of the ball changes so quickly, and it holds on along the floor, and it makes it's not a pretty game to play. You can't play a pretty game of football in weather like that. And there's gonna be, you know, the odd challenge that maybe you don't see as perfect, but to just throw away yellow cards willy-nilly like that, you're ruining the game. I don't think the penalty was a penalty for a start, and, you know, shortly after Kelly's second goal's ruled out for offside, they get a penalty, put it away, and then Carlisle, for the next 15 minutes, really, really lose their head. We do get a lot of yellow cards after that. Mark Hughes gets booked, and to be honest, I think it showed a lot of character and a lot of determination to not completely lose our heads after that, because I think it was 3 yellow cards in about 2 minutes, and I think, oh, we're really going to lose ourselves here. We're going to, you know, we're going to concede again. You know, they're on the front foot. We look really frustrated, and then to see out that first half, I think we looked very professional in that. We had our moment of frustration. We had a few yellow cards, and then we calmed ourselves down, which I think takes a lot of character. And then the change that needed to happen at half-time, that really needed to happen, was Cameron Harper needed to be taken off. And I said that at half-time. I think most Carlisle fans said it at half-time. He was really, really, you know, struggling against the winger on that side. Really struggling. Plus the fact that he'd been booked. And even after his booking, I think he'd given away 1 or 2 fouls after that. It looked definite. It looked an absolute certainty for him to get another yellow card. Now, the foul that did end up getting him sent off, I didn't think was a yellow or even a foul at all. But if it wasn't that, it was going to be something. And I think Mark Hughes does need to take a bit of responsibility for that, in the fact that everybody could see he needed to be taken off at half-time and he just wasn't. Now, there is the argument to be made that Murray wasn't on the bench. I would counter that by saying, okay, who hasn't put a full-back on the bench? That probably should go down to the manager anyways, but even then, you know, you've got a full-back playing in the midfield in Jack Ellis. You know, even if you want to call him a midfielder now, and I think he did a very good job today, by the way, you know, he can definitely do a job at fullback. Granted, mostly on the right, but he has played on the left before. And in the end, we did end up having to go to Jack Ellis at left back anyways, so I'd have rather had Jack Ellis at left back with an extra player on the pitch. And I think he did a very good job there. What should have happened is Whelan should have came on, or someone else from the bench, maybe Jordan Jones if you're feeling a little bit expansive or adventurous. And then you put Jack Ellis at left back, stick with your back four, have a better back four because you're not scared to make tackles. But yeah, look, the ref really, really let the side down today. I say the side, they let both sides down today because he ruined that game of football. And we're now in a position where we've got to resort to either Jack Ellis at left back again or a second choice left back that can't even make the bench. One of those two needs to start at left back in our next game against one of the best teams in the league in York. So even though we've won today, that refereeing performance, that refereeing decision's gonna be... It's going to be difficult for us. It's going to have consequences. And I'm not sure how it works anymore, but it used to be that because it's a second yellow, we can't appeal it, which is a stupid rule. I don't even know how appeals work in the National League. I'm completely living off League 2 rules here, but you know, I think you can appeal a red, but not if it's 2 yellows, so there's no way we can get that appealed. There's no way we can get it overturned. And we're going to have to go into the next game weakened at the back against possibly our toughest test so far this season. But I'm going to give a lot of credit to the team. We did so well to defend for the last, God knows how long, 40 minutes, something like that. We defended really well, and I don't think they really had many good chances. There was one right at the end where you think, oh, it's finally gone. But yeah, Archie Davis had a number of fantastic blocks. I think he was fantastic again today. Jack Ellis, fantastic when he was in midfield, and fantastic when he was put at left back. And granted, that's not even his position. I think he really stood out as a really quality player. It's really exciting to see the player he's become this season and progressed in his development, which I think was kind of hindered a little bit last season. I think he had a really productive season in League One, and then wasn't really in the side much during our League 2 season. And it's nice to see him, he's really, really progressing himself and progressing his career and becoming a mainstay in the starting 11 in the National League. Terrell Thomas, I think, was absolutely fantastic. Mugabe as well. I just think the back line was great, apart from Harper, who got himself sent off. Although as I've already said, I'd put a great deal of blame on Mark Hughes for that sending off. But look, the back four we ended the game with anyways, I think was fantastic. And I include the keeper as well. Georgie Kelly coming into the side for not an injured but an ill Luke Armstrong. Hopefully there's nothing to worry about too much there. But yeah, Kelly scored a goal, did well in the hold-up play. You can't really ask anything else from him. Linney was just... It's 9 goals in 9. I think is it 9 and 10 or 9 and 9? Yeah, what a player he is. He really is something special. We've got him on a long-term contract. Wow, he's just exceptional. His goal today was one of the best we'll ever see. He gets the ball about 40 yards out, takes it on past his man, drives forward into a good position and smashes it from outside of the area. And it's just wow. How did we manage to get a player like that in the National League? I can understand us if we'd have stayed up and pushing for promotion in League 2, how we'd got a player like that. But in the National League, it defies logic that he's playing for us. I will apologise as well if I don't sound like I usually do today. I'm a little bit ill. Maybe same thing Luke Armstrong's got, but yeah, just a bit of cold for me. But yeah, look, something to cheer me up from that is definitely a performance like that, because yes, it's hard to watch. Yes, it really stresses you out, but once that final whistle goes and you've held on and you've done it, you've finally won, the suffering of having to watch it in absolute dread is over. And the relief and the celebration after a win like that is something that you don't get much of. It's difficult. It's its own unique kind of joy. and relief. And we haven't had to do that many times this season, so it's nice to know that we can hold out if we need to. Morgan Feeney getting back on the pitch today was a real positive. I think he did very well. He was part of that back five that was playing in the last 5-10 minutes. And also well done to the Carlisle fans that went down there today. I was going to do it myself but missed out on tickets. Kind of glad I didn't. When you look at the... my condition at the minute, and also the condition of the people that did go down there being put in absolute torrential rain. But yeah, fantastic support again, well over 1,000. I think a third of the ground today was away fans. Yeah, fantastic for, first of all, making that trip. Fantastic support for the noise you could clearly hear from home when you're watching it on the telly. And as well, well done for surviving in that absolute torrential downfall. I hope the win was, enough to make it worth it. I'm sure it was. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Again, just relief today. And it's a good thing to get a win like that going into a very tough run of games. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and in a bit.